Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Using autosuggestion to improve doubt and fear. Joseph Murphy covers it really well in this book. One of the first things he kind of gets into, and it's really important to kind of understand how autosuggestions work in general. One, what autosuggestions are, or suggestions in general, or when other people make comments, or when we make comments about ourselves, things that we assume is true, and these comments maybe aren't true, maybe they're not positive, maybe they don't benefit us in any sort of way, but the fact that they were suggested to us, either by ourselves or someone else, we tend to believe them. We give them credit, and we oftentimes let them limit us. Some of the ways that we can accept some of what he calls heterosuggestions, or suggestions from others, and this is some examples, and I thought it was really good just to go ahead and read a few of these. From infancy on, the majority of us have been given many negative suggestions. Not knowing how to thwart them, we unconsciously accepted them. Here are some of the negative suggestions. You can't. You'll never amount to anything. You mustn't. You'll fail. You haven't got a chance. You're all wrong. It's no use. It's not what you know, but who you know. The world is going to the dogs. What's the use? Nobody cares. It's no use trying so hard. You're too old now. Things are getting worse and worse. Life is an endless grind. Love is for the birds. You can't just win. Pretty soon you'll be bankrupt. Watch out, you'll get the virus. You can't trust a soul, and etc. The reason I wanted to read these is because there's so many of them, and so many of these are things that we have heard from other people. People have told us these things, our parents, our friends, our teachers, our loved ones. We have heard these things in countless places. And the problem is when we accept them, or when we kind of don't know how to fight them off, we end up believing them and we incorporate them into our reality. So what happens with life and manifesting in general is we make up our mind about something, we decide how it is, and then our subconscious mind runs out and makes it so. Or even another way to kind of look at it, same thing, we put on filters that only allow us to see what we believe to be out there. All this other stuff is out there at the same exact moment, but we put our filters on based off of these suggestions, based off of these heterosuggestions especially, and we put these filters on and we let them decide what we can see. So we could be looking right at something very positive, but I've got my negative filters on today because I don't believe I can, or I believe I'm too old, or I don't believe that they're going to be able to be with me, or I don't believe they'll ever be faithful, or I don't believe that I'm good enough for the job, or I don't believe that there's any positions left, or I don't believe there's any positions in this town. There are so many suggestions that people throw around, and then they wonder why life conforms to what they believe. And they say, well, this manifestation's crap. It doesn't work. It's not true. All these things, I believe things are better, but then, oh, my life is sucky right now. Look at how sucky my life is. And you're like, yes, you're right. Your life is sucky right now. Let's change that. Stop focusing on how sucky it is. Stop believing that that's what's true. Stop looking at the outer reality and deciding, yes, this is how it is right now, and this is how it will be tomorrow, and this is how it forever is, because I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep focusing on how it is right now. I'm going to keep allowing these suggestions to pop into my mind over and over and over and create doubts and false hopes and all sorts of things. Now, one thing Joseph does really well, or Mr. Murphy, I don't know, Dr. Murphy, whatever, how do autosuggestions work, or how can you use them to benefit us? And he gives a few examples, and I'll try to maybe come up with a couple others as well. But here's one suggestion for how you would banish fear, for example. And fear is something that creeps in, not just fear of heights or any of that, but fear of going into a relationship, fear of trusting again, fear of trying to get a new job at maybe a little later in life, fear of trying something different. Fear is something that all of us let block us from time to time, and could very well be the key problem you have with whatever it is you're trying to manifest. Illustrations of autosuggestion. Autosuggestion means suggesting something definite and specific to oneself. Herbert Parkin, in his excellent manual of autosuggestions, records the following incident. It has its amusing side, so that one remembers it. A New York visitor in Chicago looks at his watch, which is set an hour ahead of Chicago time, and tells a Chicago friend that it is 12 o'clock. The Chicago friend, not considering the difference in time between Chicago and New York, tells the New Yorker that he is hungry and that he must go to lunch. Autosuggestions may be used to banish various fears and other negative conditions. A young singer was invited to give an audition. She had been looking forward to the interview, but on 3 previous occasions, she had failed miserably due to her fear of failure. This young lady had a very good voice, but she had been saying to herself, when the time comes for me to sing, maybe they won't like me. I will try, but I'm full of fear and anxiety. How many of us say things like that? Well, I'll try it my best, but who knows? They probably won't like me anyways. Or I'll just do it my best. If it's in the cards, it'll work out. Or I'm going to go ahead and try, but I don't know. It really doesn't seem like it's going to work. How many of us go into something half-assed? Do or do not. There is no try, as Yoda would say. And it's one of my favorite quotes of his, by the way. Not that he's a real character, but it's still a beautiful quote. But this young lady had a very good voice as she was saying, and she was super duper scared. So her subconscious mind accepted these negative autosuggestions as a request and proceeded to manifest them and bring them into her experience. The cause was an involuntary autosuggestion, i.e., silent fear, thoughts, emotionalized, and subjectified. She overcame it by the following technique. 3 times a day, she isolated herself in a room. She sat down comfortably in an armchair, relaxed her body, and closed her eyes. She stilled her mind and body as best she could. Physical inertia favors mental passivity, and it renders the mind more receptive to suggestion. Meaning, if you don't move around so much, it really helps your mind kind of focus in on what you really need it to focus in on. And that's kind of reprogramming with these positive suggestions. She countered the fear suggestions by saying to herself, I sing beautifully. I am poised, serene, confident, and calm. She repeated this statement slowly, quietly, and with feeling from 5 to 10 times at each sitting. She had at 3 such sittings every day and 1 immediately prior to sleep. At the end of a week, she was completely poised and confident. When the invitation to the audition came, she gave a remarkable, wonderful audition. So again, realizing that we've got these fears that keep popping up because we've got these doubts, we've got these programs, we've got these thoughts in our mind where I can't do this, it's not possible, it's too hard, this doesn't work, none of these things happen. 3 times a day, once before bed. It's a good time when you're relaxing off to sleep. And if you can't, you can adjust these however. But 3 times a day, sit down, try to immobilize yourself to the best of your abilities, and come up with some positive I am statements. I am good enough. I am great enough. I am what they enjoy. I am the right person for the job. I am successful in all endeavors I do. I have a successful YouTube channel. I have a successful Instagram page. I have whatever your thing is. State those things that you're afraid aren't happening. When that doubt pops up, whatever it is, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you smell funny, whatever that doubt is, have the I am for the opposite of it. Have it the I am stating that I am good enough, I am great enough, I smell wonderful, people love my fragrance. Have the opposite in effect and say it multiple times. Reprogram that part of ourselves that's been suggested by others. We're suggesting back. We're auto-suggesting. We're suggesting for ourselves. How someone recovered their memory. An older lady that was losing her memory. It's a great one. Short. A woman aged 75 was in the habit of saying to herself, I am losing my memory. She reversed the procedure and practiced induced auto-suggestion several times a day as follows. My memory from today on is improving in every department. I shall always remember whatever I need to know at every moment of time and point in space. The impressions received will be clearer and more definite. I shall retain them automatically and with ease. Whatever I wish to recall will immediately present itself in the correct form in my mind. I am improving rapidly every day, and very soon my memory will be better than it has ever been before. At the end of 3 weeks, her memory was back to normal, and she was delighted. Again, what is the thing that you feel like is holding you back? What are your doubts? Put your doubts down on a piece of paper. Put your doubts down on something. Look at whatever it is. What is it that keeps popping up? Not the fact that this isn't going to work. All right, why? Why don't you think it's going to work? Are they married currently? All right, well, that's a problem. Let's write it down. Let's work through this. Let's look at the different suggestions that pop up into our head for why we feel like it's not going to happen. Say, for example, they're in a current relationship. Let's use that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write down your affirmations as, I am in a happy relationship with so-and-so. I am enjoying our time together. I am enjoying the fact that our relationship is solely with one another. I am enjoying our monogamous relationship. I am enjoying how fun it is that we're growing together. I am enjoying this. I am being this. I am having this being in my life. I am talking to them on a regular basis. As many I am statements that you can come up with that discuss how you are the thing that you need to be already. The doubt saying you're not. The doubt saying you're not good enough. The doubt saying you're too fat, too slow, too this, too that. I am statements that you are good enough, that you are the thing that you keep doubting. That's the difference. Doubts are just popping up because there's a suggestion within us. There's someone at some place that said, this is crazy, none of this stuff works, and it keeps popping into your head and it keeps causing issues. State the opposite. State your intention. State what you desire. Come up with I am statements that you can auto-suggest within yourself. And again, with repetition, repeating things over and over, it starts to drill it into your subconscious. As you do this work, a week, 3 weeks, whatever, it's not too long, of doing this daily, these people found that their problems completely went away. All the things that they were doubting, all the things that they were finding frustrating in their lives went away. Here's a great example of someone with a nasty temper, something that all of us have probably experienced from time to time. Many men who complained of irritability and bad temper proved to be very susceptible to autosuggestion and obtained marvelous results by using the following statements 3 and 4 times a day, morning, noon, and night prior to sleep for about a month. Henceforth, I shall grow more good-humored. Joy, happiness, and cheerfulness are now becoming my normal state of mind. Every day I am becoming more and more lovable and understanding. I am now becoming the center of cheer and goodwill to all those about me, infecting them with good humor. This happy, joyous, and cheerful mood is now becoming my normal, natural state of mind, and I am grateful. You say it and say it and say it. If you feel it, cool. If you don't feel it so much yet, just keep saying and understanding that's what you're doing is reprogramming. The doubts are coming from programming you've received prior. So here's how you deprogram or essentially reprogram your mind to think appropriately for you. There was one other story in here, and I'm not going to read it, but it talked about this gentleman who kept saying how he would give his left arm to bring his daughter's health back to good. She had some strange disease, some sickness, and her health was in poor, deteriorating circumstances. And like any caring parent, any parent at all that loves their children, they would give whatever they could. They'd give their life in a heartbeat. But the man kept saying, I would give my left arm. I would gladly give my left arm. I would gladly give my... And he said it over and over and over. And oddly, at some point down the road, it was like a month or two or whatever, he gets in a car crash, loses his arm, and his daughter comes back from the crash and she's somehow cured from her disease. So he lost his arm. She got cured from the disease. He got what he wanted. But the point was, and the point Joseph Murphy was making is, your subconscious listens to whatever you say. So just because you say something that's maybe untrue, just because you say something that's maybe not good, and you think you're joking or you think you don't really mean it that way, your subconscious doesn't get that. Your subconscious is, like I said, they're just people that just look up to you and just on every word you say, and they're like, yes, I'll do that right now. And they go and take care of it. They love what you say. And if you say bad things about yourself, they're like, yes, you're horrible. I hate you. And if you say good things about yourself, they're like, yes, whatever I can do to support you. When we auto-suggest, we plant the suggestions within ourselves so the subconscious mind can get in line and help us accomplish our goals. Auto-suggestions are a very powerful way to get through the scary moments, these tough times in our manifestation. And when we can come up with some solid I am statements to say, yes, no, this is what I'm having. This is what I'm getting. This is the life I'm creating. I am it already. When we can say that and mean it and say it and just keep programming, you will start to see things almost immediately begin to change. As you begin to realize that I held a negative view about things and that's what I kept seeing. And the second I changed that view, my entire world began to shift. It literally is about as fast as changing your glasses and putting on some purple ones. Now all of a sudden you're seeing purple everywhere. It's the same thing. Now all of a sudden, you're not seeing all this negativity, or now all of a sudden, you're not seeing all these horrible people, or now all of a sudden, your specific person is talking to you again, and you don't really know why, except you changed inside. You got your subconscious aligned, and now you're actually vibrating at a more appropriate energy for what it is that you're trying to manifest. Now you're being the thing that you desire, or more importantly, you're living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Stand radio style.